All right, everyone, let us continue our discussion. In my earlier session, I had started interpretation of statutes. So we went through a few introductory points and I also introduced the three pillars of our constitution. In today's session, we are going to discuss a few terms. Okay, so let's get started. The first term that we are going to study is meaning of the word statute. We are studying interpretation of statute. So it is inevitable that we understand the meaning of the word statute. Interpretation is also going to be discussed next. Okay. So in my next session, I will be discussing what is the meaning of interpretation, how is it different from construction. But in today's session, we are only going to discuss what is a statute. Now, statute means law. If the word statute is introduced to the general public, they will be left wondering what is the meaning of statute. But the general public understands meaning of the word law. So if you read the constitution, they will mention the word law because the common man does not understand what is the meaning of the word statute, but they can relate to the word law very easily. So in the constitution, the word used is law. But we know we are studying law, so we should know a better term or the technical term for it. And the technical term is a statute. Statute is slightly wider term. It includes law, regulation, notification, bylaws, orders, etc. So what is a statute? Generally, it means law. Okay. So it means law and regulation. Now, how do I remember all this? Okay, how do I memorize this for exam? See, let us try to link each and every word. Okay, now what is a statute? Statute means law. What is law? Law is nothing but rules and regulations. Yes, that was something which we had studied when we had started learning law in CA Foundation. Yes. So, what is the meaning of statute? Statute means laws. What is law? Law means rules and regulations. What kind of rules and regulations? Of any sort, any rule, any regulation. Who has introduced those rules and regulations? It does not matter the source from which they originate. Let us try to break and understand. What is a statute? Statute means law. Law means rules and regulations. What kind of rules? Of every sort. So the word statute covers law, regulations of every sort, means every type. They have explained it below. Law includes ordinance, order, bylaw, rule, regulation, notification, and the like. Okay, so did you notice that the word law has a very wide scope? It includes ordinance, order, bylaw, rule, regulation, notification, and the like. So what is a statute? Statute means law. What is law? Law is rules and regulation of every sort, of any type. It includes ordinance. Now, what is the meaning of an ordinance? Ordinance means that it is not exactly a law, but considering the situation, an order was passed by the government. Now, let's say, for example, that a fire occurred in the Mumbai harbor. Okay, the people who had stored their goods over there lost their goods due to fire. So the government issued an ordinance promising to pay 50% of the damages. So 50% of the damages will be borne by the government, and ordinance was passed for the same. That ordinance is just like a law. A fire occurred in the slums. So you must have seen on TV, you must have read in the newspaper that the government announces that we will bear a compensation, we will pay compensation of 50,000 rupee to each and every household that was affected by fire. So that is nothing but an ordinance which is passed considering the situation. That ordinance is also considered as a statute. It is included in that order. Okay, so maybe an order is passed by the government. It also includes bylaws. Bylaw is just like a law. Do you remember in the General Clauses Act I had discussed with you that the municipality, they have passed a law in my area that spitting will attract a penalty of 5,000 rupees. So that is a law which is applicable only to the area governed by the municipality. It is just like a law. You may not find that law in some other municipality or some other area covered by a different municipal zone. But in my municipal zone, that is just like a law. It's a bylaw. It includes rules, regulation, notifications. Like we had studied, once the act is notified in the official gazette, it is enforceable from that date. So to notify means to inform the general public that this is a law and it is applicable from today. That is the date of notification. So notify means you are trying to inform the people that this is a rule that you need to follow. And the like. Now, see, these are very specific words. Ordinance, order, bylaw, rule. These are very specific words, which is now followed by a general term. And the like. It is like etc. Now, in this and the like, will you include anything of that choice, or will it relate to order, ordinance, bylaw, rule, etc.? Of course. And the like means it is related something to the words which are already used. This is something which we are going to study later also. If there are specific words which are followed by a general word, then the general word will derive its color from these specific words. So, and the like will include something which is very similar to the words which are used earlier, like an ordinance or a rule or a bylaw. Okay, so and the like means something which is similar to what is mentioned here. Okay, so what is a statute? Statute means a law. What is law? Rules and regulations of every sort. Okay, any kind of law is included over here without considering from which source they originate. So the central laws will be originating from the parliament, because parliament is the law making authority. It is the legislative authority. The state government will be the lawmaker for the state laws. Okay, you have the municipality. So we are not concerned where these laws are originating from. But if it is something which you need to follow, then that is a statute. It is defined as the written will of the legislature. Now, law can be either written or unwritten. Unwritten laws, they are known as usages, trade customs, something which we have been studying since some time now. We studied usages, trade customs in Partnership Act, Sale of Goods Act. What are these usages? They are unwritten laws, unwritten rules, also known as trade customs or usages. Now, in the Partnership Act, we had discussed that partners are not entitled to remuneration, commission, salary unless it is mentioned in the deed or there is a trade custom. Same goes for interest on capital. You are not entitled unless it is mentioned in the deed or there is a trade custom. What is this trade custom? Now, these are unwritten rules which are followed since many, many years. Like in a line of business, it is customary. Okay, it is understood that every partner will get salary. Where is it written? It is not mentioned in the deed, but it is followed since many years. See, this is how our line of business is working. My father, great grandfather also got remuneration, they also got salary, and we are also following that. Every person in our line of business, let's say we run the cloth business, everyone in the cloth business takes salary and commission, gets salary, remuneration, commission. It's an unwritten rule. Now, our Indian law respects the act, it respects such usages, it also considers the personal laws, the judgments of the case. So, we are very open that way. We are receptive to all these different kinds of rules. So, yes, usage, etc., they are unwritten laws. However, however, the word statute clearly differentiates between the written and unwritten laws. It is very clear that statute means written will of the legislature. So, are these unwritten rules, are these usages also considered as statute? No, they are not included in statute. Although law may be either written or unwritten, but the word statute covers only that law which is in writing. Okay, it is distinguishing writing from the written from unwritten. We are not going to consider unwritten over here. We are only concerned with the written will. Okay, so they are very clear. We are concerned with the written will. Now, what is the meaning of will? Will means wish or desire of the legislature. What is the meaning of legislature? Legislature means lawmaker. In our country, it is generally the parliament. So it is the written will. Only the laws which are in writing will be covered under the term statute. So it is the written will. Will means wish or desire. See, this is what I want. This is what the lawmaker had in mind. It is the written will of the legislature. It denotes an act enacted by the legislative authority, that is parliament. So parliament is just one of the examples. Generally, the constitution uses the word law instead of statutes because to the common man, statute seems something which he has never heard of. Like you and I, before we studied what is statute, like when I was also a student, if somebody would have told statute, I would be left wondering what is the meaning of statute. But somebody who says law, yes, yes, easily understood. So I think the same thing happened with you also. When I started with a by explaining the word statute, you were like, ma'am, we have never heard this before. But statute is nothing but law, something which you have already been studying since some time now. Yes. So to a common man, law is something which he understands. That term is understood. That is why the constitution generally uses the word law instead of the word statute. Statute is a very wide term. It includes ordinance, law, order, bylaw, rules, regulation, notification, and the like, means anything similar to this. So students, this is the meaning of the word statute. Now, how to remember, how to memorize it, I will show you the technique also. What is the meaning of statute? Statute generally means law. Law is nothing but the regulation of every sort. Okay, of every sort. What is of every sort means what? What is included? It is given over here. It includes ordinance, laws, rules, bylaws, notification, and the like, without considering from where they originate. So first thing that I need to write is the meaning. Okay. So over here, let me write it properly for you. So there are 4 to 5 points which you will include here. So the first point is that statute is law and regulation. It is defined as the written legislature. So writing is compulsory. Written will of the legislature. It denotes an act enacted by the legislative authority, and generally the parliament uses the constitution uses the word law instead of statute. So if it is a 4-mark question, you can easily write these 4 points in your exam. So it is law and regulation of every sort, without considering the source. We are not concerned from where it is originating, either central, state, or local authority. We are not concerned with that. It is nothing but every ordinance, order, bylaw. Now, bylaw is just like a law. Like I gave you the example of spitting. Municipality has imposed a fine of 5,000 on spitting. That is just like a law. It includes rules, regulation, notification, like in the official gazette. It denotes any act enacted by the legislative authority, and constitution uses the word law instead of statute. By repeating it multiple times, it is something which you now easily understand and are capable of remembering till your exam. Isn't it interesting? Yes. Okay. Next, let us discuss meaning of the word document. I will read all this from my textbook also. But first, let us understand what is the meaning of the word document. Ma'am, this is something which we have already studied in the General Clauses Act also. How will I understand in the exam? Whether I need to define it as per the General Clauses Act or the interpretation of statute. In the question, they will be very clear. They will specify that document has to be defined under. So then you define. There was one attempt in which they asked define document under the Indian Evidence Act 1872, and the students got scared. Ma'am, what is it that we need to write? This act is not even there in our syllabus. My dear students, the word document is defined under the Indian Evidence Act, and this is the definition which is considered by the interpretation of statutes. Okay, so this chapter uses the definition which is given under the Indian Evidence Act 1872. So no need to feel scared. Whatever is given in your textbook is the definition of the Indian Evidence Act. Okay, now what is the meaning of the word document. Document means to make a note of it, to keep a record. Why? As a proof, as an evidence that the work was done. Do you remember the example which I had given you? The example was of my articleship days. So, just to recollect that, I was given the task of verifying the FA register, fixed asset register. So, I checked the depreciation, I checked all the calculations done. Everything was in Excel file. So, I applied my formulas, I verified whether their calculation is correct or not. And I did not save any of my work. When my senior asked me, he said, "Have you checked this?" I said, "Yes." "But your workings are not here." I said, "I did not save because there was no issue. Whatever they have calculated was correct." So I thought if it is correct, then I need not, again save my calculation. He said, "How can I be sure that you have checked these documents? I can't see your calculation. Even if the client's calculation is correct, your calculation should be there to verify that yes, his calculation is correct. I can't see it." I was like, "I'm sorry, I did not know about it. I only made a note of the things which did not match." He said, "Don't do it next time, because anybody who comes to, review your work, you don't have any proof to show that you have actually checked these files." So then from that day onwards, I always keep a note of whatever work that I have done. I keep track changes on, so that I know the changes that I've made. So that really taught me a good lesson actually. So to document means to maintain a proof as an evidence that the work was done. So that is why, we say document it, write it. I again recall my articleship day where my senior, she would always tell me that prepare a notepad, okay, and write everything, whatever are your queries, pending things, things that you have not received from the client. When you receive it, say I received, write the date. It is a proof of your work. And in the end, when the audit was over, she used to tell me, staple your notepad. It is a proof that you have worked. So these are few things which are generally taught during articleship, and this is nothing but documentation. Big fours, all the big fours of your audit industry, they teach you documentation, how to prepare and maintain documents. Why? It is a proof that we have done the work. On what substance is that thing maintained? Normally paper. See, whenever I say the word document, okay, whenever you listen to the word document, what comes in your mind? Document, paper. Paper is something which comes in your mind. But is paper the only substance on which things are recorded? No, that's not compulsory. No, in olden times, when there was no paper, there was no pen, there was no language invented, or words were not invented, letters were not invented, they depicted their life in the form of paintings. So if you go through the caves, okay, you visit a cave, you will find drawings, you will find sculptures. It is nothing but showing their daily life. They would go hunting, they invented fire. It is a proof, it is a timeline that, fire was invented now and how they used it. So that is also a document. They're documenting their routine, their daily life for future reference, as an evidence that we existed. You go to a war memorial. It is a proof that the war, that event occurred. These many people they sacrificed their life. Acha, I visited Niagara Falls. My friends are not ready to believe. I quickly show them a photograph. See, this is me standing at Niagara Falls. Don't say, ma'am, everything is possible through green screen nowadays. I'm not talking about all that. I genuinely visited. So this is my photograph. It is a proof that I visited. That is nothing but documentation. So document is any paper, okay, paper or any other material. Now, why is paper word used over here? Because whenever we say document, the first thing that comes into our mind is paper. Document means paper. Okay. So document is paper, but we also consider any other material thing. So you write on paper, you write on the walls, you write on a cloth, you can embroider your anything on a cloth, or you can paint on a cloth, you can paint on the walls, you can prepare a sculpture, you can take a photograph. These are all documents. So either paper or any other material thing. Material means anything which has a permanent form. Permanent form, like paper has a permanent form. You can draw, you can write on it. wall or caves, the stone. So it has a permanent form. Okay, ma'am, I wrote on the sand. Okay, I did everything on the sand. A wave will wash it away. That's not a document. It doesn't have any permanent form. How will you prove it to any other person later that this is something which I had written? It is not possible. No. So anything which occupies a permanent form is a document. So a paper, any other material, you can see it, feel it, which gives information, it acts as a proof or evidence of anything. It acts as a proof or evidence that as an article, I have done the work. My senior, if she would verify my work, she would sign and write the date. It was a proof that she has verified my work. I still remember. And information, yes. My son has started writing a diary. Okay, and the name of his diary is Elon Musk. Okay, so the name of his diary is Elon, and he writes. I have not read it. It was just that once he showed it to me, so I read a day in his life, and it described what he did in school. Ma'am praised him, or one day when he was angry, or he fought with his friend. He keeps writing whatever happened during his day. I also don't object. I know it is an imaginary friend I also don't object, because my purpose is different. I am very happy that he's writing, forming sentences in English. He's using punctuations. I always tell him use proper punctuations. He doesn't put a full stop. He doesn't write capital letters properly. So I'm very happy that through this, he will improve his writing skills, vocabulary, and wherever he's not sure of the spelling in the bracket, he says, I'm not sure of the spelling. So it is like, he's telling the diary, although I've written this word, but I'm not sure whether the spelling is correct or not. But at least he's trying. So for me, the motive is very different. I want to improve his writing. I want him to improve his writing skills. So I also don't object. And it is a good way to document things. You are trying to pour your ideas in that document. And then when you revisit that after maybe a couple of years, I am very sure that he is going to feel either embarrassed, or he'll feel like, "Arey, this is what I wrote," and and he'll try to recall all those things. So it'll be nostalgic for him. So I want him to create memories. So don't you think that these documents, they create memories? They act as a proof, they provide information. Okay, what information can it provide? It can provide information about what happened during the day. And sometimes it happens, no, that maybe he was bullied in school, and I just happened to read his diary, and then I saw, oh, it can give me some important information in that way. Other than that, it gives information about the event, like a war memorial. It gives you information that the war took place in this decade, or in this year, the number of people involved, the artillery, and the people who sacrificed their lives, what was the outcome of the war. It is a memorial which provides information. So information, it is a proof or an evidence of anything. See, they are not very specific, because you can document anything. You can document your life, you can document an event, you can document your work, you can document anything. That is why they have used the word anything. It's a proof of anything. Like, you see Crime Patrol, the person who is murdered writes the name on the wall. He writes the name of the murderer on the wall with his blood. Okay, so it is a proof to the police that this person murdered him. So that is also a proof. That is document. You're using the wall, you're using your blood as a substance. It is a document. Okay, let's continue. Gross example. Section 3 of the Indian Evidence Act 1872, it states that document means any matter. You write anything you want, no? You write about your life, again, you write about the you write about the mythological events, or you write about your work, anything. They are open to any matter. It means any matter expressed or described. Expressed means you're just expressing your feelings, or you're describing the day in the life of a caveman. So he described his life through the paintings. So you are either expressing something or you're describing something upon any substance. The scope is so wide. You write on any substance, we don't care. Paper, parchment, wall, cloth, any substance. How are you writing? By means of letters A, B, C, D. These are letters. 26 will form alphabet. Figures, marks. One or more of these means like a combination of drawing and writing. So here, see, we are using a combination of maybe drawing something, writing something below it, intended to be used or which may be used for the purpose of recording that matter. So any substance on which you are writing something, drawing something, inscribing something, you're painting something, or using a combination of these, that is a document. It forms a document. Writing is a document. Words, printed photographs, they are documents. So it is a document which shows that during my childhood I had a horse named Badal. Okay, so he was my horse and I used to ride him. This is a proof. It's a proof. See, the photograph is a proof that the event occurred, that he was my horse. So what is a document? What are the key words over here? Any paper or material thing. Okay, any paper or a material thing. Providing proof, information, or acting as an evidence. Now, all this can be produced as an evidence in the court of law. Anyone who challenges me, I can show him that, see, this is in writing, it is also signed, this is a photograph, it's a proof. Upon any substance, you can either use letters, figures, marks, which is used for recording that matter. You can use any combination. You can use any substance for recording the matter. Generally, the document has four elements. Now, this also is important for exam. What are the four elements of document? The first element is matter, followed by record, substance, and means. Matter means the whatever you are writing, whatever you want to show, that is the substance, that is the matter, information. It is the first element. The usage of any, it shows that the definition of document is comprehensive, it is wide, it is exhaustive. Yes, I agree. See over here, I have highlighted that word. Document means any matter. Any means you can write anything, anything that you want to record, anything that you want for future reference. So document means any matter which is providing information. Now, once in office, you were doodling, you draw a kite, bird, just passing time. Your senior came and saw you do that. He took that diary away. It's a proof you were passing time. What information did he? It didn't give me any valuable information, but it gave me information that you were not working. Okay. So, yes, any matter, that word any shows that the definition is exhaustive, it's comprehensive. The second element is record. Yes, we are maintaining a record either in writing or by expressing, describing things. You know, description is more in detail. Expressing is just your expression of feeling. Like you show a person who is dancing, it is an expression of happiness. You need not write anything over there. It itself shows happiness. You're right. You have drawn something which is like surprise. It's an expression of surprise. You need not write anything. But if you're describing things, it means you want to provide more details which you know are going to be referred by people in the future. So you can write, express, describe. So recording means any device which is employed on the substance, like you use paints, you use ink, you use a chisel and a hammer or something like that. So any device which is used to write, express, or describe. Substance, it is the third element on which the elements find a permanent form. Okay, so you may use a stone, you may use a wall, cloth, paper. So what is the matter? Matter is something which you need to keep a record of, any information. So record is something which you are using, like you're using a pen, you're using a pencil, you're using a paint. Substance is the surface on which you are recording that matter. And means, so you may use figures, marks, symbols, which is used to communicate between two persons. Like the diary which my son is maintaining is communicating his feelings to me, what he is going through. Sometimes they don't tell us, but these are various means of communication. A newspaper is communicating the events of the day. The sculptures, they communicate the things which happened in the olden life. They communicate stories of gods, of the king, etc. So what are the four elements? One is the matter. Okay. Any matter, any information, anything that you want to write. Record. What are you using to maintain that record? On what are you maintaining that record? And how are you maintaining? By figures, signs, symbol, anything which is used to communicate that feeling, that event to the other person. Sometimes you may feel that, ma'am, this is really very difficult to memorize because the wordings are such that we are not able to learn it. So students, just make your sentences around these keywords. Okay, these keywords will help you to frame sentences in your own words. So what is the matter? The word any used in the definition shows that the definition is very comprehensive. This is easy to learn. Record means any device, any mechanical device which is used on the substance. So we may use it in writing, expression. Substance is the base on which we are making a permanent form. Now, as I discussed earlier, that sand is not permanent. So anything written on sand cannot be treated as a document. But you write on a piece of paper, even if you erase, that impression is still there. Even if you paint and you put water on those colors, I am very sure everything will spread out and you will not be able to understand, but it will always show that there was something written on that material. It was never blank. At least those traces will be there, right? Next, we have meaning of the word instrument. What is an instrument? Do you remember we had studied the Negotiable Instruments Act? Yes, we had studied the Negotiable Instruments Act. What is the meaning of the word negotiable? Negotiable means, why am I writing? Anyways, we are not going to discuss. Just listen. It means transferable by delivery. Transferable by delivery. Instrument. Yes, we'll write this. Instrument means a document carrying certain rights and obligation. Duties, obligation. Check is an instrument. Yes, check is an instrument. It carries certain rights. How? Pay attention. Eraser. Now, check is issued by X in the name of Y. So he's saying pay Y. X signs. Okay, he signs his name. Pay Y. Now, what does it indicate? It indicates that X intends to pay money to Y. Y has the right to receive money. X is obligated to pay money. Don't you think that this instrument shows certain rights and obligation of the parties? Yes. So these instruments, they are nothing but documents carrying certain rights and obligation. Let's take the example of a bill of exchange. Now this bill is drawn by X. X is the drawer. It is drawn on Y. Will the bill be valid? I have given it to him. No, the bill will be valid only when Y confirms. Only when he confirms that yes, I accept the bill. Okay, he confirms through acceptance. Yes, I will pay. Only then the instrument is valid. Instrument is valid only when you confirm that yes, I will pay. When you accept it. Otherwise, instrument is dishonored. So can I say that instrument is a document which carries certain rights and obligation? Here, X is obligated to pay money to Y. Y has the right to receive money. In case of a bill, drawee is obligated to pay money to the drawer. So the drawer has a right to receive money. Yes. So it is a document which creates certain rights and obligation. You are either creating the instrument, like in case of a check. X is actually creating. So this is creation. And can I say that when you create the instrument, when you write the check is valid from that day, only then it becomes an instrument. Only when you create it, when you write it, when you sign it, only then it comes into existence. When does a bill of exchange come into existence? When it is drawn? No. When it is confirmed by Y, when he says that yes, I will pay, when he gives his acceptance, from that day, from the day of acceptance, that bill comes into existence. So can I say that in case of an instrument, you can either create that instrument or you can confirm that instrument. Instrument is actually a formal legal document. So it is formal because it has a fixed format. You have a format for a check, bill of exchange, they all have a particular format. It is a legal document because it is accepted as a proof of evidence in the court of law. It is a document having all the essentials of a document. It is in writing, it is expressed, it is confirming, it is disclosing a matter, which either creates, like in case of check, you are creating a right, or you are confirming that yes, I will pay, like in case of bill of exchange, a right, or it records a fact. You are either creating or confirming a right, or you are recording a fact. It is a formal writing. So I think they are stressing too much on writing. Only when it is in writing, it can be considered as an instrument. You cannot transfer, you cannot negotiate an oral promise. So it has to be in writing. It may be in the form of an agreement, deed, charter, record. What is a charter? Charter is an understanding. So let's say that a charter was entered between the king and the feudal lords, that the feudal lords will collect revenue on behalf of the king, keep some commission, and then give the balance to the king. So that is an agreement. It's an understanding between them. Memorandum of association, that is also a charter. So an agreement, a deed, charter, which is drawn up and executed. Executed means it is implemented in a technical form. So it is implemented in a technical form. Like, see, check has a particular format, bill of exchange has a format. So that is executed in a technical form. Now, Indian Stamp Act, it states that instrument means every document. So can I say that the word document is very exhaustive? It covers instrument. So instrument is a document by which a right or a liability either is or it purports to be created. Purports means intends. It intends to be created, transferred. Okay, this is A. Created, transferred, extended, extinguished, or recorded. Let us break and understand. So, what is the instrument? It is every document. So, document is very wide. See over here. Document, it includes a written document, it includes words, pictures, photographs. Okay, so a document by which any right or liability is either created or it is purported, means intended to be created, like in case of check. You can even transfer it, you can endorse it. Yes, so a right is created in favor of X. So Y is promising to pay money to X. Now X can endorse it, transfer that right to someone else. It can be extended, like I want to take a loan. Okay, I borrowed money. Now I wish to extend that period of loan, so I can fill up the necessary forms, documents, apply for extension. It can be extinguished. I repaid the loan. I got a certificate of extinguishment, not extension, extinguishment. It can also be used to record a matter. Now your rights are extinguished. You are recording a particular matter. So that is nothing but an instrument. So instrument is basically used to create, to transfer, to extend. Okay, it also extends to, like, you are extending the scope of power. That is also possible. So the memorandum, it extends to various acts. So it is extending to or expanding the scope of power. It can also be used to extinguish, that you no longer have these rights. It is no longer your obligation. Can also be used to record a matter. See over here, it is clearly written. You are either creating or confirming a right, or you are trying to record a fact. The paper on which you're recording a fact, that is an instrument. So instrument is a formal, it's a legal document. Okay, it's formal, it is legal, it's a document which either creates or it confirms a right. Yes, you have the right, we confirm it. Or it is just used to record a fact. It is a formal writing of any kind. It should be in writing, that much we concluded. It may be an agreement, deed, charter, or record. It is in drawn up and executed in a technical form. You need to memorize this definition for exam, but I have given you the keywords. Lastly, let us discuss what is a deed. So deed is an instrument in writing. So can I say that document includes an instrument, and instrument is a deed? Yes. All right. So see over here. Instrument is actually a document. So it means document is a wider term. Instrument is a document. So instrument is actually a document. And instrument which is in writing is a deed. Okay, instrument in writing is a deed. So deed is an instrument in writing or in any other legible. Legible means readable representation, or it may be words on a parchment or paper. Now, I gave you a piece of paper and all the terms and conditions were printed, but in font of size 1. You will never be able to read that. Even with a magnifying glass, you will never be able to read. Can I say, Arey, I have printed the terms and conditions, na? But they are not legible. I am not able to read. Now, see, when I have prepared this document for you, it is quite legible. You can read, you can write. Even if you're watching the lecture on a mobile, it is still possible for you to read it because I have made it legible because I want to convey this information to you. However, if on a piece of paper I write everything in a very small font and then argue, no, 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 I have written, but what is the use of writing when I cannot read and understand it? So, deed means it is, yes, an instrument in writing, but it should also be whatever you have written should be legible, it should be readable. It is a legible representation, or it may be words on a parchment or a paper. Parchment is nothing but a paper. Purporting means intending. Intending to effect some legal disposition means legal effect. Now, let us read everything properly. So, deed is actually an instrument in writing, or it is in some legible representation or words on a parchment or paper which intends to have a legal effect. Now, is it clear? Which intends to give a legal effect. Now, this deed is legally enforceable because it is in writing. It is having some legal effect. I'm in writing. I have some intention that yes, it is creating a right. If you are not able to enjoy the right, you can take action. So, I'm showing intention to sue. So, this is having legal effect. Deeds are instruments, but all instruments are not deed. Let's go through the definition of instrument. See over here, we have clearly written that instrument is either an agreement, it includes deed, it includes a charter, it includes your affidavit, it includes a check. So, instrument is a very wide term. Deed is just one of the instruments. So, yes, every deed is an instrument, but every instrument is not a deed. Okay, instrument is a very wide term. So deeds are instruments, all instruments are not deed, but in India there is no distinction between instruments and deed. So there is not much difference between instrument and deed. They are used interchangeably because see, instruments are also in writing and deed is also in writing. So deed can also be called as an instrument, but what is the main difference? That deed is actually an instrument in writing. All right, so these are few uh meanings of the terms that we will be using frequently in the interpretation of statutes chapter. I hope you understood all of them because I have tried my best to break them. Now let us read all this from my textbook so that you gain immense confidence in our handwritten notes because we have covered everything. Okay, we have covered everything over here. Now, you will realize that, ma'am, your handwritten notes are so superb that it covers each and every point. Statute to a common man generally means law. Okay, generally it is law because Constitution also calls it as a law only. It is law and regulation of every sort. We are not concerned the source from which it is originating. Statute is nothing but the written will of the legislature, which is expressed in the normal in a legal form. It denotes an act. Statute denotes an act enacted by the legislative authority, example Parliament. Constitution actually uses the word law instead of statute. Law also includes ordinance, order, bylaw, rule, regulation, notification, and the like, something similar to that. Statute, it signifies written law in contradiction to the unwritten law. The unwritten law we have studied, they are usages, trade customs, etc. So each and every point was covered in my handwritten notes. Document, it is any paper or material giving information, proof, or evidence we have written. Indian Evidence Act defines, yes, we know the definition. Writing is a document, words, it may be printed, photographs, etc. They are also documents. What are the four elements? Four elements include matter, record, substance, means. Keyword over here is any. Then you have a device. It is something of permanent form, and then it should be used to communicate. Instrument, it is a formal legal document. It either creates or confirms right or records a fact. It is either used to confirm a right or it is used to record a fact. It is a formal writing. It is executed and drawn up in technical form. Indian Stamp Act also provides a definition. Deed is just an instrument in writing or any other legible representation, or they are words on a parchment or paper. They are intending to have some legal effect, legal disposition. All deeds are instruments, but instruments may not be deed. In India, there's no distinction between instrument and deed. Each and every point was covered properly. Let's go through it. In case you have missed anything, you can please make a note of it. I'll just show the points to you again. So just check whether you have written properly. The words are the same. Only thing is I have broken it down further into small readable parts so that it is easy for you to learn. Done? Okay. That's it. All right. So let's end this session here. And I will meet you in my next session where we will discuss interpretation and construction. Okay. So I will discuss the meaning of interpretation and construction with you. I'll see you there.